All right, hey everybody, welcome to the ToddCast. Today I'm sitting with a friend, Stu Dunkel, and we're gonna talk about one of our favorite people ever,
Howard Rehs.
Howard Rehs.
Yes, we just came back from his memorial service, which was excellent. And he was quite an influence for both of us.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yes. And when I first met him, I was invited to a show at the Good and Evil show, and I believe it was, I'm not going to say 1914, 2014. I'm old. And so I had a piece in there, and I got there really early when the show opened, like at 10 o'clock. And I was just really excited. New York Gallery, and I'm going to hang there. And I got there, and it was just me and Howard. And for a half hour, he loved that I was a classical musician, and he wanted to hear all my musical stories.
Hmm.
And I'm afraid I burst his bubble when I told him what actually happens in a symphony orchestra. But he was very inquisitive and just really inviting. It was good. And then the people started showing up at the gallery. And at one point in the show, he said, "Oh, someone's is interested in your piece that you did." And it was this mouse in the center. I'm known as the Mouse Man because I put a mouse in all my paintings. And on either side was the good toys, and the other side, bad toys, Pez dispensers and iconic characters. Anyways, he said, "Go talk to him." So I went and talked to him. And at the end of the show, when everyone was leaving, he came up to me. He said, "Oh, your piece sold." I said, "Wow." And he said, "I'd like to represent you." And I went quiet, and I said, "Why?" And he just started laughing, And then he went into a really nice explanation why he was interested to me. And I said, a lot of artists can't talk about their work, but you basically sold that painting. And the person who bought it, I know very well, and he was very impressed with you. And that started my relationship with him,
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I noticed when I went back in my files, maybe the first year I sent him 5 paintings, and they all sold. The next year it was like 10. And then it got to the point where, I kept sending him more mouse paintings, and he really knew how to sell my work. The Rehs family is fantastic, and they know how to build collectors. And I don't know if Howard would call you night at night and say, "Can you do a painting of our mermouse, half mermaid, half mouse? And can you send it next week?" And I get those kind of wacky calls, which I liked, because I like to ask for a lot of feedback. And
Yeah.
he was very interested in that. He would give me ideas, and I'd bounce ideas. And sometimes I would just, push the idea. And he took them all,
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. How did you meet Howard?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was working at Ralph Lauren at the time. I think it was like 2012 or 2013. And I was in another gallery, which was a good gallery, but they had only sold like one painting over like 2 years.
Yeah.
And, there's the beauty of getting into a gallery, and then there's the reality of, now you have to hope your career goes anywhere, but it's at the mercy of collectors. So a mutual friend was in one of the shows, and I think I went to the opening. It could have been the same show you're talking about, and then I was like, "What a wonderful gallery!" And it was 2 blocks down from Ralph Lauren.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Ralph Lauren was 3 blocks. Ralph Lauren was at 60th and Madison, and the Rehs gallery at the time was on 57th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gina and I went in after my wife, because she worked at Ralph Lauren at the time. We went down for lunch, and we just kind of checked out the show after, and they were very nice. And I just thought, what a convenient gallery, what a beautiful gallery.
Mm-hmm.
And then I emailed them, and I just remember putting the package together, you know, hey, I'm interested in representation. And Howard, I think, was doing a show in Florida, and he said, call me. Because that's what he does.
Yeah.
He's like, call me in an hour. You know, it's usually now. And I spoke to him over the phone, and he said, I like your work. Come in and bring them in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's classic.
It was awesome.
Way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, so I showed up with 4 paintings, and the difference between this gallery and the last gallery, which I'm not going to say names, was that they all stopped what they were doing, and then they came over and they focused on me because they were interested to hear me.
Yes, that's really unusual for a gallery director to be that, you know,
interested,
focused on the artist and what they're doing, and
they all did.
Yeah,
Amy, Lance, Alyssa, they all stopped, and I just thought, like, why do you guys care so much?
Yeah,
but that's the beauty of them. The whole family cares so much. So we sat there, we talked for about an hour, and then Howard did this is a beautiful painting. It's going to be hard to sell. How much do you want for it? And I was like, in my head, I was like, is he negotiating right now with me? Yeah. And I said, you know, I'm asking for 3,000. And he said, what if I give you 1,000 right now? Something like that, you know. I can't remember if it was 1,000 or what, but I said, are you interested in it? He said, yeah, I'd like to buy it. And I said, sure. He said, Alyssa, go get the check. Go get the checkbook.
Right there. Yeah. And
she ran in. She didn't run. She walked in. She got it. And I still have a copy of the check because I was like, this is amazing. Uh-huh. It's like, So in that first week, they went from me selling 1 painting to him selling 2 more paintings.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just thought, this is amazing.
That's the way it should be. Yeah. It should be done. I mean, you got to know Howard more than I did. And as I realized all the dimensions he had to him, right? Like he was on this council to appraise stolen artwork. What's that about, right?
I know.
The FBI, right? He worked... Oh,
they're still working.
We can't say that.
Yeah. Well, they're still working with them, and ironically, I have 3 paintings on their website because I had 3 paintings stolen. So the FBI has my paintings.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, he was also the president of FADA, Fine Art Dealers of America. He was a dad to me. I would pick his brain all the time, and just go in and sit with him, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he gave me a lot of advice. He called at least twice a week to talk to me.
Yeah.
And make suggestions and whatever. And I would always ask him about my prices. He's got to raise your prices. And I would say no, because I had a teacher whose prices went so high that they didn't sell anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, I like to paint, and I'm prolific, so I didn't see really why to. And then he got mad at me because he says, you know, you're flooding the market. You paint too much. Be more like Todd and my other gallery.
Oh,
you know,
funny.
And we had this sort of competition. He says, you know, you got to do more like Todd does. You know, you got to write books and do podcasts and be on Instagram, and you know. So there was a little running feud I think he had between us, right? Because he would say, you got to be more like Stu Dunkel, and I said. And he'd tell me be more like Todd Casey, you know. So
that's funny, yeah. He would he did the same with me too. And I think his car ride home is when he would always, you know, we were chatting yesterday because we were driving in that traffic of like, why would you drive in this every day? And I think for him, you know, him and Amy would connect. They would throw me on speakerphone, and
that's interesting. Yeah.
It was you know, instead of sitting on a train reading a book, he could talk to his artists, and he called me. Maybe he called you more, I don't know, but it didn't really matter. But he called me at least once a month.
Okay.
You know, and it was I always answered, "Hey, Art Dad," you know, and he said, "Hello, Art Son."
I love it. Yeah.
So it was beautiful, and the relationship that we had was wonderful. He was at my daughter's christening. I was at his daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
You know, but he would call up and the same thing, whisper in my ear, you know, ideas or when we have this coming up, can you get a couple paintings done for it?
Yeah.
But out of love,
Yeah.
that's Howard. He loved art. He loved his family. Just a wonderful human being.
Right. He would always call me with these wacky ideas. And I don't know if Amy grounded him a little. I don't know what that dynamic is, but then Amy would follow up, making, we want Chucky the Mouse in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform in a crowded stadium, kicking a football, and we want it 4 inches by 5 inches. And can you mail it on Saturday? And she was sort of transposing what Howard was saying to me. And I said, okay, email it to me.
Yeah.
So, but he liked the wacky ideas. And I don't know if I brought out that in him because I could get pretty goofy and surreal and wacky,
Yeah.
But he encouraged that. And I don't have another gallery that I'm in where I had that sort of communication and ease of communication that I have with the Rehs family.
Oh, yeah.
It's so unusual,
Yeah.
And it just validates what I'm doing,
Yeah. He would call me up and just ask me if I was okay. And I'd be like, yeah, why? What's up? And he's like, I haven't seen you and I haven't heard from you in a week. So when I was at Ralph Lauren, I was a wallflower in there. I mean, I would go over him almost every day on my lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And one, they would buy me lunch. Not why I went there, but
mm-hmm.
but I would just pick his brain because he was such a wealth of knowledge on the art side.
Right.
Because they would buy the historic stuff and they had the contemporary market. So I picked his brain in terms of like learning just about the art market.
Right.
And also pick his brain about what do you think of these moves for my career? Would you do them? And, I'm now the vice president of the Hudson Valley Art Association, and I would ask him, is it worth becoming a board member on something?
Oh,
And he was like, yeah, it absolutely is. So.
Yeah. Well, you're amazing. You have your hands in so many things. Sitting in your studio here and, writing books, and you have your props all around you, doing podcasts, and you teach at Lyme and get all these offers, It's just really impressive.
You have a lot. You've had three successful lives as well.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying just painting now, and walking my dog and bringing my wife coffee in the morning. That's my life.
Yeah. But yeah, he was such a wonderful person to learn from, and he was actually pivotal in those books too, because anytime I got an opportunity, I would always tell my family and tell them. And I had asked Howard, I remember just going in there and I said, I have a book deal, and he's like, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm interested in maybe having somebody, paying for somebody to write the art history side of it, because I know what I know, but I know I'm not an art historian.
Right.
And I said, do you think somebody like Gabriel Weisberg would write from my book? And he's like, hold on a second. And this is Howard in a nutshell. He calls Gabriel.
Wow.
He just called him right there. And he's like, Gabe, I'm sitting with one of my artists, Todd Casey, and then the next thing you know, Gabriel's writing from my book, Yes. And that's how he was. That like, if you wanted something and you asked him, he was beyond happy to help, and he did it right there.
Right. Yeah.
You do anything like that for you?
What was amazing is when I first got into the gallery, he didn't like my bio. So he called
Janet Whitmore?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know who she was, and we went over it. And it turns out she's a first-class writer, and my bio is like amazing. I'm even impressed with myself after reading that, But no, he took a real interest, and he always saw my sort of quirky side. And I said, I started off self-taught as a surrealist. So he was coming down, and he stopped at my house, Amy and Howard. And I said, I've got like 400 of these paintings in my basement. He flew down there, and he saw my weird surrealistic stuff that put Salvador Dali to shame. And he picked out like 9 paintings to take back with him. And he said, I'm going to try to sell these.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it, And I think he sold 5. and it's really early surreal work that's I love, but you know, they're hidden in my basement now.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone wants to come down in my basement, no, maybe I shouldn't say that. But artists have a lot of work. I see you've got a lot of sketches and paintings here. You know, it's
Yeah.
And I did ask Howard, you know, what should I do with all these? You know, I don't remember what he said, but he did take them, and he was going to try to sell them.
Yeah.
What gallery does that? Comes to your house and picks out work, you know?
He did. Yeah, he did that here too. Not this house. He did come to this house, but the old house.
Mm-hmm.
He was always interested in being involved in his artists. They weren't just artists; they were family. They were friends.
Yeah.
And he came to the old house too, and you know, I think at the time he was painting for a show, and you know, I think we went out to lunch or dinner, and just looked through everything. And then, but Alyssa's done the same too, and the family is very involved in all of it.
Yeah.
And they're great communicators.
Yeah, and I did talk to Amy briefly at the service, and she said she's going to carry on the tradition that Howard started at the gallery and try to keep his vision true. So yeah, so we'll keep giving them work and see how they shape it and how we shape it for them, you know.
Yeah.
We'll miss you, Howard.
Yeah. Well, he'll never be forgotten, and I think he did a lot for both of our careers. So
Definitely.